Good afternoon, Georgia Vape Alliance. I'm Lauren Fralick with Georgia Link Public Affairs Group, and I wanted to come to you today with a message about the 2021 legislative session. We represent you and we lobby on your behalf at the state capitol. And this session started in January and ended a couple weeks ago now on March 31st. The last day of the session usually goes till midnight, and this year the Senate ended around midnight and the House ended a little later, past midnight. So we are there each day on your behalf. We attend committee meetings, we talk to legislators, we track bills that are related to the vape industry. And this year there were a few bills that were introduced I wanted to talk to you about. First off, there were a couple bills that were introduced that would have changed the tax and increased the tax. As you probably remember, last year a tax was put on vapor products, and there was a 7% wholesale tax that was created on e-liquids that was 7% of the wholesale price. The two bills that were introduced this year, one of them, House Bill 394 by Representative Ron Stevens, would have increased the tax to 39% of the wholesale price from 7%. And House Bill 670 would have increased it from 7% to 40% of the wholesale price. So obviously those two bills would have been problematic and bills that we would have been opposed to. The bills actually were assigned to the House Ways and Means Committee, but never had a hearing, so there was never really any chance of them moving this year. Thankfully, I did talk to legislators that sponsored the bill and others and let them know about our concerns of that. Those bills also did away with the 5 cent per milliliter on closed systems, and so it obviously would have not been favorable to us. I also talked to the proponents of those bills because those legislators said that they introduced those bills on behalf of the heart, lung, and cancer associations, and I asked them if they would be willing to talk about or work out a lower number, a lower percentage, and trying to explain to them why we don't think that's fair, and also trying to educate them on the difference between the open and closed systems and your industry, you as vape retailers, how that would impact y'all. And there really just wasn't much willingness from them to change their opinion. They, while they're opposed to cigarettes and smoking, they're also opposed to vaping, and they really kind of look at them as very similarly products that would cause harm to individuals. So they believe that a higher tax would deter people from using the products, and that's their goal. So neither one of those bills passed, but as I've said before, we will continue to have bills that will be introduced that will try to tax you guys at a higher rate. And these two bills, while they didn't make it this year, next session is the second year of a legislator's 2-year term. So this was the first year of the term, next year will be the second year. So any bill that was introduced this year is also still eligible for next session. So technically they could still be heard and passed next year. So we have to do our work in the summer and fall to educate legislators on this and to try to hopefully get them to understand the impact that would have on our industry. There was one bill that did pass that wasn't a tax bill. It was House Bill 287 by Representative Bonnie Rich that would add vapor products to the education that students get in schools. Right now, they are educated on tobacco products and alcohol products, and so this was adding vapor products to that list that they would talk to students about in schools. And there was another bill that was introduced that would have allowed for the purchasing of products online that could be shipped to homes as long as the business owner verified the birthday and kept the information about the purchaser. And then someone 21 or up would have to sign when they received that product. So that bill did not make it this year. Another bill that is non-vape related, but general business bill that I think is still something that could be helpful to you all is the COVID liability bill that put liability protections in place for all businesses last year. Whenever COVID hit and they came back in the summer, they passed this bill, and it would have expired on July 14th of 2021. And so they've now changed the law to extend that to 2022, since we're still not out of this COVID mess yet. So those are a few of the bills that were introduced and that are relevant to the industry. One of the things that Susan, your president, and I have talked about is continuing to have you all build relationships with your legislators. So I want to encourage you to know who your legislator is if you don't. Reach out to them and introduce yourself and invite them to your shop to meet you, see what the products are, and help them understand the difference between the open and closed systems and the types of products that you all sell. And also, I think it helps to share your story. If you are a former smoker who got off of smoking through vaping, I think it's helpful for legislators to hear that as well. So I would encourage you all to do that. Susan and I are going to come up with a target list of legislators that I will invite to do some shop visits and to spend some time with this summer and fall to hopefully build some more champions for us for the industry. Also, I've talked to Susan about the association and or members giving contributions to lawmakers. One of the best ways to get to know these members and build relationships with them is to support them in their campaigns. They do have to run every 2 years. It is very expensive to run for office, and so they always appreciate a campaign donation from a constituent. So those are a few things that I would encourage you to work on now that session is over. Of course, it comes around again every year in January, and we will have to keep fighting against higher taxes on your industry and more regulation on your industry. The board has done a good job of working with the Department of Revenue this winter and spring, and they continue to be a voice for you all as you do adapt to the new tax that you have to pay on the e-liquids. And so I really appreciate them engaging with the Department of Revenue and helping educate the Department of Revenue on your industry as well. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions or comments, and I just want to thank you for letting me represent you. And that concludes my legislative update. Thanks so much.